Good morning, everyone. How are y'all today? Glad to see you stop by. If this is your first time dropping by, quite welcome, my friend. Drop by anytime you feel. If you'll hit that little like button and subscribe button on the bottom, you'll get notifications when I put up new videos. It'd be greatly appreciated and help me grow my channel. So what am I gonna do today? Today, I don't know if y'all seen my video a couple of days ago, but I'll attach it above, of how to start you some strawberry plants from your runners off your existing strawberry plants. Now I got my strawberry plant started. I need me another raised bed to put strawberries in. So I thought I'd just do another video on how to build you a good, cheap cow panel circle raised bed. Now if you buy a cow panel, approximately around here you can get them $22 to $25. And if you want your raised beds, you can cut these in half and you can get two raised beds like some of my others. It's 25 inches high. But this piece right here, I'd cut off one strip to use for an arch over one of my raised beds, and I'll show y'all that here in a moment. So what I got left here is 32 inches, and then it's got the little pegs left on the end, and I use them to stick in the ground. So my bed is going to end up being 32 inches high. That's 16-foot long panel, so that'll make you a circle of approximately 5 foot diameter, give or take. Then I'm gonna cut my tin. I got some old galvanized tin. I'm gonna cut it 32 inches. And we're finna build us a raised bed and show you guys how cheap you can build you a good size raised bed cheap, especially if you get scrap tin like I did. A lot of people tear down old stuff, or they want stuff tore down. You can tear it down and get the tin and save the good pieces. And so let's get started. This here is already cut. We're gonna move up to the shed, cut my tin 32 inches long, and on the way I show y'all that little strip that I cut off of this and what I used it for. Now I don't know if this is the exact one come off of that one, but this is kind of what I do with it. Take one of them and cut it and bow it over, and you can get it up high enough, and then I just use green cane and bend. That way I can put shade cloth over my raised beds, or when I'm starting out early in the spring and it's cold, you can put plastic over it and kind of make mini greenhouses over your raised beds. And that ain't a bad price for them if you just bought the cow panel strictly for these. You can get 3 and maybe 4. Cause a cow panel at the bottom, the little blocks get narrow. So you might could get 4 out of one panel to make you some good tall hoops with. And then if you don't want your hoops that tall, or your bed ain't that wide, they 16 foot long, so you could, approximately, according to what you're using them for, you could get 4 to 8 of these out of one cow panel. So let's go up here and cut our tin. Everything's growing good. Y'all just got a sneak peek. Next week y'all get a garden tour. And here's my 2 sheets of tin. I'm gonna mark them out 32 inches long, and I'm gonna cut them into 32 inch pieces. I know you're gonna say, well, why ain't he working off a set of sawhorses or something? Well, with these tin snips, these electric tin snips, it's actually easier running them when it's on a flat ground where I can maneuver how it needs to be maneuvered. So we're on a set of sawhorses. You ain't got somebody to help you hold your tin still. You just pushing it and sliding it and all that good stuff. See guys, I saved these pieces like this right here, about 13 inches tall. And you can take 3 of these just by themselves. Screw them together on the end and make you can take 2 of them and make a 2 foot circle bed just out of that. Drive it down in your soil a little bit. And you got your raised bed just out of this leftover. Alright guys, I don't know where y'all at and what y'all doing, but y'all seeing this little poor boy sweat the most he sweated this year in 2021. It's 82 degrees, but it's so humid because it's going to come rain here after a while. I got water running on my head like Niagara Falls. Let's take our little tin and get back out to the garden and start assembling this little raised bed. Guys, what we're going to do next, I'm going to stand this panel up, make a circle out of it, and I'm going to tie the ends together good with some heavy gauge electrical fencing wire. And then we'll get it circled, the best circle we can, and then we'll move to the next step. Now the easiest way I found to do this is like what y'all just seen, get it and fold it over and get it tied together on the end. And again, I'm using 14 gauge electrical fencing wire. And if you watch my videos, I use electrical fencing wire 14 gauge and 17 gauge to tie everything because it don't rust. I wrap it several times. I don't just put one wrap on it, because when you put that dirt in there, it's going to have a lot of pressure on it. And after you get it tied like this, you're going to stand it up and you're going to try to get it smashed down and make it as round as you can at this point. Now at this point is where I'm going to get me a couple of T-posts, and I'm going to drive in there to help me hold it as I kind of round it out. But your best rounding is going to come after we put our tin in it, and as we start filling it up with soil, you can pack out your soil as you coming up and shape it better. A 16-foot panel makes approximately a 5-foot 2-inch circle, give or take a little bit. Now I would suggest if you wanted them that wants yours, absolutely perfectly round, don't leave them spikes on the bottom. Cut them off. That way you can push in and out as you fill them with soil a little more to get it perfect ground. I'd rather have my spikes stuck in the ground and not be, I'm not a perfect person, so I don't care if my circle's just a little bit, because it's just a raised bed garden. When I started wanting to do raised bed gardening, I was trying to come up with the most cost-efficient way to build beds, but beds that would last for years. A lot of people want to know why I went with round beds. Well, round beds, you take that panel there and it's 16 foot long and you wrap it in a circle and it's tied on the end. You put your tin in there. When you filling it up with soil, it's working against itself. To where if you tried to build a long, narrow bed, you're gonna have to put posts every so often to keep it from bowing in and out and all that stuff. This here, it's gonna contain itself with the soil pressure. Also, I got a couple that I started with. I didn't have no tin to put in it, and I just used ground fabric. That worked. It's working great, but now the ground fabric, how many years that's gonna last, I don't know. I'm hoping to get 5 years out of it, really. But next, we finna lay my tin out here on the ground, and I'm gonna just put 2 screws in it, and all that's for is just to hold it together while I set it in there. So when I start filling up with soil, I won't be having little pieces just, falling in on me. So the screws, actually, after you put them on and fill your bed with soil, you could actually take the screws back out. Me, I leave them in. They sticking in the soil in there. I just got 1-inch screws that's made to screw roofing tin down with, and that's what this is, galvanized roofing tin. I just leave my screws in there. I just put them low enough from the top. If I stick my hand down in the soil, I don't scratch myself on them. That's what I'm gonna do. I started laying this out while it was raining, but I'm gonna lay it out and we're gonna screw this together and then we'll put it inside our ring there. When you're doing this, all you're focusing on is keeping your top lined up. You ain't worrying about if your bottom's in and out of line, because it's gonna be sticking down in the dirt. You can see my tin was longer than I needed, but I don't go and try to cut it and make it fit perfect. It's gonna be filled up with soil, you ain't gonna be able to see it, so I just let it overlap whatever it needs to overlap. But as I'm filling up with soil, that also lets me be able to push my tin out of tight against the cowl panel. I don't put screws in the end of it. As I'm coming up, I push soil out and keep it pushed out against the cowl panel. Like I said, if you didn't use the spikes, cut the spikes off the bottom of your cowl panel. As you pushing that soil, you could make it, take your tape measure as you coming up, check it different ways, you could make a perfect round circle. To me, that's pretty good to me. Somebody had to put a tape on it to tell me it ain't perfect. You can't see it with your eye. Or at least I can't see it that good. I may be half blind, I don't know. Anyway, next I'm finna go out here and I'm gonna gather me up some old wood. And we're gonna put about a good foot to 18 inches of just logs, limbs. If you got leaves, start out with your bottom with wood. Don't try to fill that all the way up the soil. That wood in the bottom, a hold moisture for your beds. As it rots, it holds all your good insects, worms, all the good stuff for your soil. I don't know the proper words. Y'all get my point though. But you don't want to put that much soil. Like I said, just the benefit of that rotting wood holding moisture is a great, great benefit if you live where it's hot. So I'm finna go gather me up some wood, and when I get back, we'll start putting that in there and show y'all what that looks like. Right now, that's what we looking like. Now this bed's a little tall. It's 32 inches. I realize that's way taller than needed. I like the 25, 26 inches, but this is gonna be for strawberries, and I like it where you can walk right up here and work on them and pick and weed them. And these raised beds is really nice on your back, I can tell you that. One thing, if you decide, well, something's going on and I ain't gonna garden at all this year, or I don't want to garden all my beds, this is what I like about raised beds. You can cover this up with black plastic, the ones you don't even want to use that year. Cover them with black plastic. You can tie that plastic around them easy. Take some of that boxing tape that they use for shipping tape, tape it up. You ain't got to worry about your beds growing up with weeds or nothing during the time down that you have in them beds. These wick pots, I can just stretch black trash bags over them, put a piece of tape around them. If I ain't gonna use them that year, I ain't gotta worry about weeds just taking over my soil. Because your soil will last for years and years and years. You just keep putting more feed in it, organic feed. And that's one good thing about these raised beds starting out with wood. As that wood rotens, your bed to settle, so every year you just put fresh compost on top every year as it settles a little bit. So anyway, I'm going to get our wood. Alright guys, I think we got enough wood this time. What do y'all think? There's a little more than I wanted in there, but that's alright. That'll ride down for years. Now I'm finna go scoop up. I got some real long, about 8-year-old aged cow manure and cotton gin mixture. And I'm finna fill her up with that. Now when you start filling it up, try to put a little bit at a time in there. Like I said, I got a little more wood in here than you need. But you start trying to take your soil and fill in your voids down there as much as you can. That way you won't get as much settlement until your wood starts rotting. Alright guys, we filled up with soil. Now what you want to do at this point, don't just go planting right away. You see me bring the water hose over here. I'm going to flood that with water. And when I say flood it, I mean saturate it, flood it. That way it'll make your bottom soil as much as possible settle around all the voids in them stumps and logs down in there. Then you can come back and cap it off with whatever you want to plant in. Because if you plant right now, after you get a good rain, it's going to settle more into them voids, and your plants are just going to be in like little washout gullies where it's settled in spots. So I'm going to flood that good, and then when my strawberry plants that I started from them runners the other day, if you didn't see that video, I attach it above. When they get big enough, that's going to be my, well, it'll be my second strawberry raised bed, and then I got 2 strawberries just in container pots or wick pots. But you see how when I put that soil in there, it pressed that tin out tight against that cow panel. And like I was saying earlier, the cow panel's round, and when it's tied together, the dirt's working against it, so it can't go nowhere. If you tried to build a pretty rectangle or a long triangle, or a triangle, not a long triangle, but a rectangle or a square, then you got to start using a bunch of posts to try to keep it straight and warping and all that stuff. This here was just the most common sense to me, efficient way to build raised beds with long life, because you ain't got to have all them posts trying to keep them straight and stuff. As far as putting the wood in the bottom of it, I know there's a term for that. I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong. Something like that. But again, that's something that's been around since the whatever 1700s. To me, it's just common sense. You put wood down in the bottom of something, as it rots and decays, it holds moisture and stuff. Now, a lot of my other raised beds, the big ones like this, they're actually around a tree stump where I cut trees down out here when I decided I wanted to do raised bed gardening and container gardening and wick pots. I cut several trees down where I'd put these beds around them stumps. I'd leave the stump sticking up where they're about 4 or 5 inches below the top of my soil. Put some more logs around it and do the same thing. But anyway, guys, I'm going to start flooding this. And that's how I set it up right there. So that there, guys, makes a good planter, cheap. If you ain't got scrap tin, even if you bought one sheet of 12-foot tin, guys, if you bought one 12-foot sheet of that galvanized tin, that's 3 foot wide, and cut it 1 foot height, you could make you 3 of them right there. That would be about $25 if you had to buy the sheet. But you could make 3 of them that size, but 1 foot high instead of 15 inches high. I hope this video was helpful, give some of you guys some ideas. Please leave comments if you have a better idea or something you see I might ought to do, or you think I might be interested in. Please put it in the comments, 'cause I'd love to know. Please hit the subscribe, like, thumbs up, share. Help me grow my YouTube channel here. Thanks for watching. God bless. See y'all next time. Have a great day.